council review the recommendation of the Planning Commission. How do you propose to do that?
Do we have the minutes?
Yes.
No, we do not have the minutes. We have
I just got them today.
Please,
I received them today.
the minutes, transcription, or summary.
Summary.
I think you probably would be safer to have the actual transcription. But a summary might do, but in any event, they need to be distributed to the council members so the record can reflect that they've reviewed them.
I don't disagree. I mean, I would be comfortable with summary. If you think the whole minutes need to be transcribed, I think it was probably a short transcript.
Probably is, but it obviously is expensive and takes some
Right.
time to get that. That would be the best way to do it. If you want to run that risk of not having the transcript, then you've got it. Statute says the record, or at least the judicial decisions say the record. They don't tell me what the record is, but I think you actually have to have the application would be part of the record. The staff recommendation would be part of the record.
Yeah, the only thing that I have a little comfort in is the fact that the staff recommended it.
Well, I agree. That's perfect because
Yeah.
that tells you that there's something in the record that will
Right.
support your decision otherwise.
Right.
But the record
So-
has to get here somehow or other.
Yeah, I can,
I've got it right here, the summary of the,
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty detailed. It talks about,
let me read it. It's only like 2 paragraphs.
Well, you need the record. That's only part of the record. And I don't mean to be technical here, but you've already told me we're going to have some opposition to it. So knowing you're going to have some opposition to it, you need to do it
Yeah,
the
I
the best way you can.
I agree.
The best way you can is get the entire record. The record consists of the application. The record consists of the staff report. The record consists of the testimony before the Planning Commission. All of that needs to be presented to the city council so that the record of our city council meeting can reflect, yeah, we have reviewed the record.
agree.
And on the basis of that record, we come to a different decision. That's what has to be done to justify overriding a map amendment.
Agree.
And we've done that before. I remember there was one other map amendment that we did that for, and we each had the record in front of us, and we read that, so that we knew, you know.
But we can just have that available at the next council meeting.
Can we get it before that?
Sure.
yeah, I'm sure we can include that with
I've
the,
got it all with the exception of the transcript of the
Okay.
actual testimony.
Okay,
This
yeah.
is the
I'd
summary.
much rather have
I
it
have the
before the
application,
council
I have the use and stuff. I can
The other
send
day,
that
it
out.
was kind of rough.
You can probably
get
get that transcript before the next council meeting.
does it have to be a transcript, or what if we, I mean, because I'm assuming that the council's going to have an issue putting together a transcript. They're probably going to charge us for that.
Oh, absolutely.
If we if we gave them the summary and the video,
Video will work,
yeah, we could put a link to the video or something like
but
that.
then the council members have to watch that video.
You have to.
I'd rather watch a video than read.
Me too.
Personally, if I could read, I could read it faster.
Yeah, until you find out it's a 3-hour meeting. Yeah, is that what you said?
I could read it faster.
Yeah, never mind.
I'll bring the popcorn.
But I'm gonna say, it was not a 3-hour meeting.
No.
It was
I think we
three-
were the only-
It was 3 people, and it's pretty brief.
We were
so
the
it's-
only item on the agenda,
Yeah,
right?
it wasn't a 3-hour
Whatever's
meeting.
easier for you guys.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want it before the council meeting.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. All right, thank you. Any other discussion or questions on that? All right, we'll move on then to the Progress and Revitalization Committee. Mrs. Pitts, Mr. Cahill?
That's the logo.
Yeah,
Becky is in the house.
all right.
Yeah, you got 5 minutes.
This evening, we have with us a gentleman who's been working on some logo work with us, and council has met on a couple of occasions and talked about that, and I met again with Mr. Tischbein of Tischbein Design yesterday afternoon, and he has a few things to show you and would like to discuss with you and try and get a movement forward and a consensus tonight on the presentation. So without further ado, I introduce to you Mark Tischbein of Tischbein Design. Don't start. So whenever you're ready, first slide up, just let Sherry know. Okay.
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 Welcome.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I had the pleasure to work with the city of Erlanger in designing and developing a new logo, a new brand for your city. I saw a particular need after I think I was presented with about 6 different logos that are out there for your city. And I thought, oh boy, this is a good opportunity here for to get something that's unified and works well on all your applications that you have, whether it's vehicles, print, website, all of above, something that you will be proud of and get many years of good use out of a new logo and brand. With that being said, I think that we have something to show you tonight. So we're here to get some thoughts and some opinions, but if you could put the first slide up. We did a process where we designed all numerous logos, at least a dozen, and with a little committee, we narrowed it down to 2 favorites that we wanted to share with you tonight and give an explanation on which direction that we're favoring and which way we're going. This is the first option here that of the 2, and this one we like because of the word Erlanger has very much strengths to it, and it has class because it's the caps lowercase and works nice with all caps in Kentucky. The blue background that it's sitting on is not just a solid blue. It has a nice gradated shade from dark blue at the top left to a nicer, richer blue on the bottom right. We also incorporated our terminology is we call it a swoosh, but it signifies a lot of different things. We came up with that graphic after a lot of renditions, is that it reminds us of one of movement, a forward movement, something on the move, a city on the move. It reminds us of roads. You're kind of at the crossroads here of a lot of highways coming through, so it has kind of a double connotation. We look at it as being very positive. It's moving and it's going forward up in a nice forward shape. We took it a little further and we thought, okay, we also have to start thinking of how this logo would work with the departments. So the bottom one is we've kind of looked at your vehicles and different departments of the colors that are being used. And so we're given police as an example. We took the bottom of the 2 stripes and faded it. And what that does is that allows the name for that department to tuck up under there nicely. We like the contrast of using a serif for the word police or each department that we're going to present to you. And that gives a little contrast to the word Erlanger, which is a sans serif. So this was one of the 2 favorites that we liked very much. So can we go to the next, please? Okay. This was our other favorite of all the renditions. And here, this is in a serif font, all caps. And we're incorporating the road theme again with a little bit of a kind of a glow in the middle of it. And it signifies the movement again of, similar to how I explained on the first one, but kind of could be roads, it could be movement of a swoosh, it could be the highway coming over and crossing. And then we kind of had fun with how that graphic element or icon, should I say, is kind of overlapping the bottom of the A and the bottom of the N a little bit. And it really doesn't affect the readability of it. We like how the R comes down and integrates with the little icon. And there's a couple ideas of how we would treat the word Kentucky with this design. So this was also one of our favorite ones, and it has a lot of nice things going on. So that we were involved in this process and looking at other municipalities as we were going and noticing other treatments people were using in their logos. And we went, uh-oh. So if we show us the next slide, please. We noticed that we picked this design and we're liking it very much, that Florence has a serifed all caps font also in blue, and they have their R extending down. And we thought, uh-oh, there's a lot of similarities here, and we certainly wouldn't want to get into picking a logo and then having controversy of saying, hey, you copied our logo, and, you know, so we were very sensitive to this. So it's not a dead issue, but we noticed that there were similarities, and we want to be careful of that. So the next one. Okay, so we gravitated back to the first design that we talked about, and we did some changes, more changes to it. We gave it a border going around that connects to the swoosh. And the reason we liked the way this was going, that you'll see if you put it on vehicles, if you put it on a patch, if you, put it on colored backgrounds, it gives it a colored border to support it and to make it actually pop off. It's a little harder to see when we have it on our print formats and our monitors, but we were favoring at the top the blue, and then I call it either silver, or platinum, or gray around it. Well, then we noticed the city of Ellesmere has a gray, almost the same color as we were favoring in our top design. So we thought, wow, here we go again. We can't, there's no way we can promote that and have them say you guys picked the same color. However, there's nothing alike in the designs. It just was the two colors that were getting a little close. So if you go to the bottom, we then gave it an additional color study, and we chose a warm, kind of a taupey tan gray to go with the blue fade in the logo. And we really like what's going on at the bottom because it really works good, because you have a warm color and a cool color that work together. And as I was in design school many eons ago, that was something we were taught, that those go together nicely, warms and cools. So the bottom option is one that we're actually starting to favor and are trying to recommend here tonight. Can we go to the next one? Okay, so we're back to how this particular logo could work with all the departments. So we're trying to propose that the top design is what the new City of Erlanger's logo would be. It would be the blue fade with the tan taupey color. And the bottom one is the same, but it has the fade going at the bottom. Next. Okay. So here's, if you see the logo, now we're actually introducing the change of colors as we get into different departments. We're back to how the police department could be used at the top option, and we've kind of showed it to the top left with a similar color to what the police cruisers are, how that could possibly work on the door of a cruiser. Okay, going down to the middle, we went back to the same warm gray taupe color that we're proposing, but then we're showing fire/EMS below that, and the color of the vehicle, which would be on the left, the fire truck. That's how we would see that working, where we would take the name of that department and put that option in black. Then we go to the bottom, and we said, okay, Public Works, let's go to a nice green And we noticed that the vehicles that they use that on are white. So we see something we can have a little fun with, and we have that strong, very, very, very strong brand going on. However, who says you can't just take that second color and just work it a little different for the departments? Next. Okay, so we're a little bit further now, and we're showing, other than on vehicles, we're showing some options on how it could work on print. And the top two are a front and a back of a business card. And we're only using the two colors, the blue and the tan color, and black ink, because this would be a full color printing process. And anymore, it doesn't cost any more to print full color two sides on business cards than it does printing one side. So we're just giving an option at the top of what a layout for all the departments would be for a general look for business cards. And then the other side, which is the second option there, is the other side of the business card with a positioning statement below the logo on a solid blue field. And we have something going on. We have the blue kind of transposed where the background's going from the lighter blue down to the darker, stronger blue, and it's the opposite in the logo. The very bottom of the page is just an idea of what let's say the city's envelope would look and how that would be treated. We're using some of the same fonts at the business card at the top. For instance, the name on that business card at the top is the same typeface that's in the word Erlanger in the logo. And then you come down and the same typeface is being used in the other part of the little information that's in the word Kentucky in the logo. So what we're doing is we're developing a brand and something that we could see that could work for a long time and work well in the future. Does anybody have any comments or anything to talk about?
Very nice.
I like it. It's different.
We like it because it's strong. It's a very strong logo, and it's friendly, and you know, it's very pleasant.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You know, we've been in discussions about trying to create, we have our mission statement, you have it up there on the card, of trying to create a very brief kind of vision statement. A lot of cities have them. And I'm not sure if you bring Ellesmere's back up there, you know, making tracks moving forward, I think is what it says, and it's incorporated in their logo. Could we, if in fact, if we come up with something like that, forward, whatever it may be, short statement, use it then the way we've done the departments. And so we have to take our original design and, you know, instead of putting police underneath there, you'd put that vision underneath there the same way.
Absolutely. That's why that space is created there to be used. We even have a design for the two long words, economic development.
Right, I've got that one.
And they're like a mile long when you were getting into that. That was that was one of the earlier ones.
One of the earlier ones, but it has it under there.
You know, with that condensed serif face, it still fits and tucks up under there. And if we come up with a tagline or something on the generic, like for instance on the business card, that can go right underneath where that swoosh is. There's something else I guess I forgot to talk about on the business card. There's also right at the very bottom of the top card, we're taking that double road swoosh and we're going to propose printing that in a very light screen on business cards, like a 4% tint. So you just kind of very lightly see that movement on there also. Right? It was like, okay, I didn't see it up there until I got closer.
Oh, is that, so you're saying it's in the background?
Yeah.
Like a watermark?
It's like a watermark.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't see that. Oh, okay, now I do. I do see it at the bottom.
And, you know, a thought that I had that if we can keep the momentum going and we can design cards and set up cards for everybody that needs cards, that uses cards in the city. And maybe at the first of the year is a little surprise coming back from the holidays or something, and start the year off fresh with a tuned up, refreshed, new brand, and give everybody a new business card with that same setup on the top too. As a little, hey, thank you, and here you go, this is something for you.
Can we get council shirts?
Yes, council. This would go on shirts too, right? Yeah. Council
We've
wants shirts.
never had council shirts.
I know, we
since
never
I've
had,
been on.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
With the business card on the very top, you have the logo not at the top, so you've got that extra white space up there. To me, that looks odd. If it was all the way at the top, because it goes straight across. This looks odd with the white space.
Well, sometimes there's going to be people with longer names, and they may want initials after their names. They might prefer to have a middle initial in there, and that gives an area for somebody's name to go longer. And also, sometimes a little white space on something is refreshing. You know how you ever heard the term, let's just have some white space. It's nice.
I know sometimes I like to have a little bit of white space just to make a note. If someone hands me a card, I might need to make a note on, where I met this person or how I met this person or.
Well, and also the way you're doing the email addresses, you're using the person's whole first and last name, and that's a mile long. So there was a thought out that how that would go at the bottom, and it could go another mile if it has to, and it would still fit.
Okay, I have another question. On the one where you showed the police, fire, and the public works slide, the police and the public works have coordinated colors. The fire, I understand maybe why they look that, doesn't look as nice as the other.
Well, could you go back to that one?
Visually to the other.
Yeah. Well, when we first started the process, as an outsider, we put red in there. And then we looked at we really did a closer study of what's on the vehicles now in the fire department, and there is no red. Right. So without actually getting into a whole nother adding of colors and things like that, we did propose once in going blue type on there. But to be honest with you, to probably stand back and look at all the fire vehicles and how they're working, that final call could be made kind of by evaluating it up close and looking at it. I'm not saying that it has to be that, but it was a color that had contrast with that, but it still popped out without going a bright color.
Before we get into a lot of the details, I would like to get a little bit more, if there's any more discussion from council or any kind of impression from council.
I work with business cards 40 hours a week. I think they look great.
I do too.
Yeah.
Great. To add something, I don't see having to change everything you have overnight. I see as you run low on things, print the new. I don't see having to go out and rip that officer's patch off his shoulder and say, but when it's a logical time for a transition, then, do it slowly over time, but,
That's the chief. I don't think you'd want to mess with him.
Yeah.
And you had to mess with all of them.
But that was probably how we started, without that border around the logo would work with the police. It would still pop out on a dark uniform or a dark car.
14.
And we talked about implementing this and whatever design we come up with. And it is going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think the main thing that hit us when we looked at it and tried to get some kind of uniformity to it, just drive around the city and look at the Welcome to Erlanger signs. There's no uniformity to them. You'll see different ones at all entrances to our city. You'll see them different on our street signs. You'll see those things. I think when we come to departments and starting to do that, it's going to be one of those things that takes time to do. You know, we have a fleet of 100 vehicles, you know, with all the departments. How are we going to change 100 vehicles? Well, we're not. We're going to do that over time. So, you know, I think that looking at this and deciding upon one and making sure, you know, we get departmental specific, then there's changes, making sure we have a plan to get there and how it's going to go. You know, fire was one in particular that said, you know, this generic patch that we have, we'd really like to redesign that whole thing, just using this as the center part of that patch. And then whatever else goes around the borders of it, same way we've talked to police about the same thing. If you notice the police patch, it's got what we've got right behind us. It's in the middle of it. When we designed that patch years ago, and it was a part of that process, it was that. We took this right off the wall and put it in the middle of that patch. The same way with this. It would be the same thing in doing that. And I'll say this, you know, we laughed years ago when Florence changed theirs. We laughed. We had a really good joke with all the Florence workers about how they looked now. With that flag running down. But you see it now, and by gosh, you know you're in Florence. You know you're there. And it's something that has just caught on and caught on and caught on. You could just see it. You wouldn't have to be ready. You'd know that's Florence. Yeah. And that's what we're kind of, you know, we were hoping to try to get with us. Everybody's doing this now with the star up on the state, and we see it. Ludlow, we look exactly like them, or they look exactly like this without, they don't have the L, they had the E. We had those conversations last year, year before last, about the E and what we would do with it. That's why this whole new design is a way for us to get that identity. And especially if we can get, and a lot of cities are going to those you know, 2-4 words. Becky, do you remember what Versailles's was? Urban living, country setting, something like that, or country setting, urban, yeah. I mean, it's just those little catchphrases that are, you know, that people know. Okay, that's for sales. You know, we're now, you know, making tracks moving forward. That's Ellesmere. You know, those kind of things. So this would go along with all of those, and you've done a great job. And we looked at several of these.
The end result of this, what we would like to do is to do a design guidelines small manual, whether it's 3 or 4 or 5 pages, something that can be circulated and trying to be followed, kind of like your little design Bible as you redo items. And so, well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so there's no other items on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Blankenship, second by Mr. Dunhoff. Meeting adjourned.
Go out.